All right. There we go. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Green White Checker TV. Tonight we have the Area 51 Racing League 87 Cup cars here at Daytona. 75 scheduled laps will be the distance. So you see the point standings there before we get things rolling off to see where your favorite driver is in the points. Right now, James Ledford's still holding a 16-point lead over Eric Schaus. So you can see there, I believe you can kind of see where the differences come from with those 2 wins for James, and then the just the one additional top 5. That's pretty much what's made the difference between the 2 of them up front here. And then Eric has about a 16-point gap over the 3rd place driver of Dwight Plesh. In 4th, we have Chad Wilkes, who's had a really good run. You see there's 4 wins, 4 top 5s, and 5 top 10s in his 5 starts. So when he's in these races, he is one to be reckoned with, and he is here again this evening. So we'll see what he can do tonight. And then rounding out the top 5 is that number 88 of Michael Spell. So yeah, say happy midweek, if you will. Say halfway done. Got Thursday, Friday to go. So, well, at least for those that are got the normal Monday to Friday schedules. Hope you're all having a wonderful evening. I appreciate you all who are able to join us this evening. Drivers finishing up their qualifying laps right now, and then we'll get things underway in just a moment. Alright, looks like qualifying is just about completed. So another thing is qualifying also, well, I mean, again, there's a bonus point for in qualifying here, so that's going to also come into play. Could come into play for the championship, so we'll see how everything winds up after they finish up here in just a moment. And then we'll get through the starting grid. Alright, drivers have finished up their qualifying laps, so they are getting set to grid. Unfortunately, a bit of a short field here tonight. I think the 87 cars have kind of scared some of these drivers away, possibly. So, however, with that being said, though, we'll pull up our starting grid for this evening. Again, that pole position is our points leader, James Ledford, so that's a bonus point in the bag right away for him. So, again, that could definitely help in that overall point standings. Eric Schaus in the 2nd position, Chad Wilkes 3rd, Josh Sichterman in 4th, and Todd Merkel's going to round out the top 5. And you see 6 through 8 there, you have Robbie Richards, Dwight Plesh, and Michael Spell. And then the last driver all by his lonesome there. That number 76 of Jim Brooks gets his whole own page dedicated to himself. So those are going to be our drivers for the race this evening. Again, scheduled 75 laps tonight here at Daytona. We'll see what these drivers are able to do. Again, these cars, even at the plate track, especially in that trial, well, they are a handful, so that's going to be the key for them to kind of make sure they can get through the turns as safely as possible. That tri-oval is definitely a handful, and so usually trouble spot is going to be the top side of turn number 3 on entry. It seems like that's where I think car really likes to try to step out on them. So we'll see what they're able to do. So we do, of course, have the 3 attempts of a green-white checkered finish, as well as we have the 2 fast repairs should those come into play. Alright, pace car is rolling. See the field coming out of the pits now. Again, that number 48, James Ledford, is going to lead the way. Next to him is going to be Eric Schaus. Third will be Chad Wilkes, and in fourth is the 199 of Josh Sichterman. So those will be the front 2 rows here tonight at Daytona. So again, I'll say with these cars, the critical thing, of course, to start things off, of course, is going to be getting through the gears. We've seen these things are not the easiest to shift on. So you definitely can't throw the gears like you can in the new Cup cars. These ones you have to be very deliberate. Got to use that clutch. That's a word, yeah. Use the clutch and actually get it through the gears that way. So these guys are going to have to kind of take their time, and I say, and of course, the draft is going to play a big role in here. Alright, we're going to see the pace car duck off here in just a moment. We're going to put it into the hands of our leaders. And once that green flag flies, we will get things underway here. And saying a new rule change actually that they just set up earlier this week is going to be on the restarts, though the leaders actually have control of the restarts. So that's going to definitely be something to keep an eye on. And so you can see right off the bat, though, Eric Schaus gets a pretty good start there through the gears, but it looks like James Ledford's going to try to kind of hold even with him as they enter turn number 1, and he's going to have that shorter distance through. As you can see, the 199 Josh Sichterman, I think, may have missed that 3/4 shift there. You see he dropped way back in that 199 car. So you can see he kind of got stuck there. Robbie Richards kind of got hung in behind him there. So I'll see, of course, now the first thing that James Ledford's going to want to do is he wants to get a lap lead in that number 48 machine, give him 1 more bonus point. So he's going to check that one off his list. He's got the lap lead there, so that's going to be the first thing he wanted to do. So now from here, I think he's just going to try to kind of probably at this point just try to pace the race here. And I'll say again, we talked about these cars as well. If we do get some green flag pit stops, these things do take a long time to get serviced, especially on the tire side of things. So we'll have to kind of wait and see as well to see if they do maybe try some tire strategy, maybe fuel only or 2 tires, just to try to save a little bit of time in the pits in these cars, because they do not run the full fuel tank here. They have a reduced tank, so they'll have to pit slightly more frequently, but let's say it's still, again, even with that though, it's still a long pit stop for these monstrosities. So you kind of a mixed strategy with some of these drivers here. Obviously, James Ledford kind of wanting to lead the way. So I think you'll see the same thing for that 17 Chad Wilkes, Todd Merkel, Eric Schaus. Usually you'll see these drivers kind of towards the front here, try to control the race. So usually you'll see, though, that 76 of Jim Brooks, they're a little bit further back. He kind of likes to hang out in the back of the race and really try to go after things once it's kind of gets closer to really to be time to go. So I think that's what we're going to see from him. I don't think we'll see too many crazy moves early on from that 76 car. I think he's just going to cruise right here as well with that 3 of Michael Spell, as well as the 44 there of Dwight Plush. Got a good side-by-side battle here going on with Eric Schaus in the 72. He's gone to the top. He's on the outside of Todd Merkel there. That's for the third position. Again, Eric started in that second spot, fell back a little bit on the initial start, but it looks like he's trying to make a charge back up there. And looks like he's brought a friend, the 12 of Robbie Richards, as they come through turn number 3. Again, that's going to be the place you have to be a little bit careful for. It seems like it's really easy to get loose there entering turn 3, especially on the top side. So, and again, with these cars, and there's no real easy, safe place to drive these things. Even in the tri-oval, you'll see these things are just so kind of just hung out there through the tri-oval with that slightly less banking. If anything, these cars probably actually drive the best right now in turns 1 and 2 compared to the rest of the track backstretch. They kind of get that little bit of a wobble to them because again, these things are just kind of just bricks with about 700 something horsepower. Every time they go every time they go into turn 3 there, 2x2, I always get nervous. However, a great job by them so far getting through that turn. Oh, you can see though that 81 Todd Merkel had definitely had some wiggles there coming out of turn 4, able to hang on to it, keep it in this, keep it pointing in the right direction there. Looks like Todd's going to jump up top here and try to run with that 72, maybe see if he can give him a little bit of a boost here. As I think Eric Schaus as well is going to want to try to get a lap led in that number 72 machine. And the other thing these drivers can do as well, there are also some bonus points for having no incident points in the race. So if they can get a 0x throughout the race, that'll also go a long ways for them in this championship battle. So that's going to be the other thing to keep an eye on. If they can try to keep these cars clean through to the end, they can definitely get some bonus points from that as well. Let's go ahead and hop on board that 72 of Eric Schaus. Watch him go to work here. You can see he can just get there, but then that's about as far as he's able to get for the moment. I say it again, I think he needs just that little bit of help to kind of push him that little bit extra to kind of make that charge. I say he had the 81 behind him for a little bit. So I would not be surprised to see that 199 of Josh Sichterman, see him jump to the top as well. He's a pretty typical highline runner there in that 199 Roy Wheeler design machine. So we'll kind of keep an eye on him as well. But again, I think right now these guys know there's not a lot of them here. I think their goal probably is going to be like some of these other drivers, where you want to try to get it to green flag pit stops and try to see if you can kind of out pit stop the other guy and gain some positions that way. So again, still a long ways to go. I believe the fuel run is going to be in the 30 lap range. I think the magic number, if they can, would be if they can get to lap about 34. That would allow them to make this on 2 pit stops. So otherwise, if they need to go and do a 3 pit stop strategy, obviously that'd be splitting in quarters around 25 and 50. Actually, no, as I'm saying, I'm basing this off of a 100 lap race. I apologize. 75 lap race. So yeah, so actually 25 and 50, they would be able to make it to the end. So yeah, so I think that's going to have to be the strategy, is to figure out just, of course, then how far do you want to go. Maybe you run one stop long, do a full fuel load, and then the second one you run the short one at the end. So I'll say those are kind of those strategies you'll have to figure out if you want to split them evenly or what you want to do here. You see, it looks like leader's going to hang it down onto the bottom. And I think, again, this is going to be where the tire wear also is going to come into play a little bit in this race, where you wouldn't think at these kind of plate tracks, but with these cars, they actually do wear the tires as well. So there's going to be some tire strategy in this as well to make sure you don't burn your stuff up, because towards the end of this run, as the car gets lighter in the back, as that fuel burns, these things are definitely going to be handled a little bit worse. As I say, you'll probably see those back ends kick out just that little bit extra compared to what they were normally. Alright, so while these guys are running like this, let's say we'll go ahead and run through. So again, not a bunch of cars to go through, so it's obviously a good chance to kind of focus on everybody here. So again, right now our race leader is our pole sitter and points leader, that 48 of James Ledford in that number 48 Goodwrench. Behind him, oh, there's the stuff popped up there. So I also want to show the kind of the speeds these things are running, because it's pretty phenomenal how fast these cars can go. In second place is the number 17 of Chad Wilkes in that Monster Energy Monte Carlo as well. Right now, so you'll see that as his speed picks up down the back stretch here, so you'll see him probably get to 210, I would believe, and that's probably with him lifting a little bit. I see 212, I saw it touch 215 there for just a moment. So it just shows how just ridiculously fast these cars are going. In third is that 199 of Josh Sichterman, started fourth, currently moved one spot up into that third position. Like I said, I think he's just kind of in cruise control with these leaders up front here, in the same kind of doing the same thing as them, and then now moving to the top. No surprise there, that 72 of Eric Schaus. Eric running that top side here. It ducks it back to the bottom actually though. Eric started in the second position, currently running in fourth. Again, still plenty of time to go here. Behind him is that number 81 of Todd Merkel. So you can see he's got the Merkel Racing engines in that sponsorship on that car. Handful of other sponsors as well. So that's actually, that's definitely something you want to take a look at if you can do some research. I'll say he does some pro stock racing. Pretty cool to have him over here with us with the Area 51 Racing League. So yeah, really cool to have him be a part of this group as well. Then right behind him we have Michael Spell. Spell started in the 8th position up to 6th right now. I think all these guys are just kind of trying to take their time, and I think we're going to see, I think it's going to be the pit strategy is going to be the name of the game here tonight. Then you have Robbie Richards there in the 7th position. So he's also in that Roy Wheeler Designs paint scheme in that number 12 car. Right now running in 7th. Again, I think these guys just kind of cruising here. Actually, I just saw right there that the 48, he's kind of moved to the top side. We'll have to keep an eye on how, if that comes into play here. Right now the last two drivers still in this draft here hanging out. As we mentioned a little earlier, 76 to Jim Burks, just I feel like kind of cruising here. He'll probably make a charge here as the race goes on. Oh, big wiggle there for Eric Schaus. And then the last car in this group here, Dwight Plesh. Again, I say Dwight never really shows his hand until it's really time to go. And Dwight's a really good tire saver as well, so that's going to be the thing to keep an eye on for him, to see as these drivers might start struggling on theirs, maybe he's able to start making a run back to the front. All right, Eric Schaus, no surprise, he decided, I'm ready to go. Let's try to make this top here work again. So hasn't got it to go yet, but he's definitely been making some gains here. The problem he has right now just doesn't have the friends behind him to give him that little bit of a push. While obviously these things don't draft like the regular Cup cars do, you still need a little bit of draft to kind of move on forward. And so when you got those 4 cars to the inside and then some, you need more than that to make that top side work here. Alright, we are at lap 16. We have 60 to go here. So again, I think around 10 more laps in that first pit window should open up, if these drivers of course want to split it evenly. Let's say we'll have to, the other question is going to be if any of these guys are going to try to maybe maybe pit with a group, or if they're going to just try to get in and out on their own, because again, these things also do not stop very well. So that's going to be another thing they have to be careful about. But up front though, you see James Ledford, Eric Schaus door to door here through 1 and 2. So again, these things just kind of wobbling through the turns, through the straightaways as well. These things just not the best handling machines, but they're definitely making the most of it here. Oh, you see the 44 Dwight Plush, looks like he may have had a little bit of wall contact. He's fallen back a little bit off the draft here. So this pit stop cycle is going to be definitely an opportunity for him to try to regain some distance here on this draft. This is one of the closest chances Eric's had so far. The lead doesn't quite get the lead at the line. It's going to still hang on with James Ledford there at the start-finish line. Again, though, right to the door of each other here. Really hard racing, but a lot of trust between the two of them there. Saying a little more trust than I would have, especially with kind of the net code we see occasionally in iRacing. So right now these two definitely putting on a really good fight here for the lead. But again, I think right now Eric is just wishing someone would just give him a little bit of a draft here, and say I think that could actually push him that little bit forward that he needs. But I think that top line really is starting to come in a little bit, just because of, again, these tires starting to wear, the fuel starting to drop. Let's say I think it's just going to help that momentum on the top side that much more as this run goes on. Oh man, you can see there James slid up just a little bit. You can see Eric, oh, close. Oh, we have contact. We have trouble there. We're going to have our first caution. We saw contact between that 48 and the 72. So unfortunately, heavy contact for the 72 of James Ledford. He's going to try to get this car turned back around. So yeah, it's going to put us under yellow for the first time here. Let's go back and see how this all unfolded. We saw a little bit of it happen live, but I'd say we'll be able to get a better look at it here. See if we can get a better look here as they come through turn 2. So we'll try a couple different angles as well to see if we can get a better look at it. But you can see almost they kind of just come together there. You see James washes up a little bit. Eric looks like he's kind of angling down to try to kind of get that side draft, if you will. Saying that Eric, unfortunately, just catches the outside wall, which is going to right hook the 48 there, James Ledford. And that's what sends him into the wall there. And you see, a little bit of contact for Michael Spell behind. You see these drivers just sliding their cars, trying to avoid the incident there. So a little bit of damage for the 72, the 48, and the 3 machines. They all have some damage to their cars. And so that's going to put us under the first yellow. So we're going to see, I don't think we're going to see too much on the strategy front. I think we're going to see some pit stops here. Obviously 4 tires. Well, we'll see about the 4 tires or not. If anybody does maybe a 2 tire stop or not, we'll see on that front. But then again, with the field being as reduced as it is, I think this is the time to take the 4 tires here. But we're definitely going to see some fast repairs, I believe, probably from some of these guys. Like I said, Eric Schaus will possibly need one. He might try to hang on to his, but he has pretty good damage. I think he's going to need to take a fast repair. And then same thing for James Ledford. I think for sure he'll need it. However, like with Dwight Plesh, though, he's just got some right side damage. He might be able to get away with just getting some, just get the damage repaired manually, which he looks like. I don't see any quick fast repair action happening on that car, so I think that's what he's opted to go with. Let's go ahead and take a look at our other drivers involved there. James Ledford looks like he's going to try to get his damage fixed as well. Eric Schaus, however, definitely took a fast repair on that car. And pretty quick stop there, 11.9 seconds. So I'm thinking there is either 2 tires or fuel only. So he's going to try to get that track position there. So that's going to keep us under the yellow for just a moment. So it'll be a quick yellow because, again, we're at a bigger track. Looks like, again, as I mentioned, James and Dwight here just getting their damage fixed as best the game can do it itself. Simulation, it can do itself. And save those fast repairs for later on should they need them. So you say there's James, he's going to roll on out. So while we're under yellow here, we'll step away for a moment. I'll get a drink of water, and then we'll rejoin here on the 1 to go. Alright, as you can see, lights are off on the pace car. They are entering turn number 3. Say James Ledford's having to hustle a little bit to make sure he gets back to the draft here before we get back going, because I say that's going to definitely be critical for his chances tonight. Saying fuel-wise, I think they could still make it here on one more stop, so it's close enough, I feel like, to lap 25 there. Well, let's say, but that could definitely be something that comes into play here tonight with this race. So say we'll see how it goes, obviously. However, Eric Schaus and Chad Wilkes going to lead the field here to the green. Saying again, this time the leaders can go when they want to, and there goes that 72 car, gets a pretty good start there. I'm saying also going to help him a little bit on the initial start there with having to try to get through the gears, and really good restart as well for Todd Merkel there. He's going to come out in that second position as all of these drivers here get back up to speed. And it looks like everybody's going to be able to hang on to the draft here pretty well. Say they're all staggering out just a little bit. But again, as they get through the backstretch, I think you're going to see them all kind of just all bunch back up together here. Alright, so say coming around get this lap, say Eric Schaus going to hang on to the lead here as well. Say now he's got that 81 Todd Merkel behind him in third, Chad Wilkes in, Todd Merkel in second, Chad Wilkes third, Josh Schichterman fourth, and then Robbie Richards in fifth. So I saw Robbie a few times looking like he wanted to try to see if he could do something on that top side, just wasn't quite able to do so yet. And then so you can see there a little further back there, Jim Brooks, he's just got back onto the kind of the tail end of this lead pack here. Looks like Michael Spell's done the same here. Say I'm a little nervous though about, as I see the 44 Dwight Plush makes a little bit of contact to the outside while entering 3, able to hang on to it, but say again, I think that's going to get him out of the draft here, unfortunately. So he's going to try to see if he can hustle and get back up there. I'm a little worried about James Ledford though, because he is not coming up too well on this pack here, and you can just see there's a fair bit of nose damage on that 48 car still. So I don't know. I say as much as he hit there, I kind of feel like that would have been definitely an opportune time to use one of those faster pairs. But you just never know here. But it looks like he has got the draft back. You can see he's there right now behind Michael Spell. He's actually looks like gonna take the momentum possibly to the top here. Oh, actually no, they're actually still, even Michael Spell's falling off a little bit here. So say they're gonna have to work together here to try to get back up to that lead pack here. Say right now Jim Brooks holding on to the back spot of that lead pack. I say gap wise though, I mean they're definitely within the drafting distance to get up there. So now it's just if they can just kind of push here and get back up there. Up front though, say Eric Schaus leading the way here. Still got Robbie Richards, sorry, I was watching him make a move to the inside. Todd Merkel there right behind him in second in that number 81 car. But again, I think these guys are just back to cruise control here. Say Chad Wilkes there right there in third, Josh Schichterman in fourth. There's Robbie Richards in fifth, Jim Brooks there in sixth. And then yes, I'm a little nervous about that 48 and the 3 there. I just don't know if they're going to be able to catch back up here. I'm going to watch their lap times to see if they're able to make any charge here. Actually, yeah, that last time by James Ledford was about 0.2 of a second quicker than the lead pack, so he is starting to slowly but surely close that gap. So we'll hop on board and kind of watch from him. Let's see what he's able to do here. You can see there, he was really able to close the gap there entering turn number 3. So I think he just needs another lap or two of doing what he's doing here, and I think that'll get him back into the mix on this one. So I'm watching Dwight Plush, and so his lap times aren't too bad. They were about a 10th or so off of the group in front of him, but actually quicker than the leaders again. Last time by, Eric ran a 43.9. And yeah, so here enough, there you see James Ledford. He's jumped back into this fight here, so he's going to be in a good position now. Same thing for that number 3 of Michael Spell. So now we're going to keep an eye on the 44 of Dwight Plush and see what he's able to do. So same thing, I'm going to try to keep an eye on his car. So you can see the gap is just, I think that's too much of a gap here to try to try to break that down, but we'll keep an eye. You can see also that right front hood damage there. Definitely not going to be helping the top end of this 44 machine. However, though, he was quickest car on track the last time around, ran a 43.669. Leaders were a 44.1, so he could still find a way to manage this here. So we're gonna watch. We'll keep on board here with Dwight and watch him as he comes through the backstretch. You see he's trying to follow the draft of these guys in front of him again, trying to get all the advantage he possibly can as they're gonna send it off down into turn number 3. So I feel like I do see that gap slowly but surely starting to close here. I think it's within about a second between himself and Michael Spell. So the closer he gets, the bigger that draft is going to work for him. And I think actually Dwight might be in pretty good shape here as well. I'm going to watch his lap time now. And yeah, last time by was a 43.654, so about 4/10 quicker than those lead packs. So Dwight doing a really good job here, staying aggressive and trying to chase these leaders back down to be able to kind of keep himself in the mix for the fight for the win here this evening. Yeah, you can definitely see Dwight now is right on the back of this group as well. So they've done a great job of kind of hustling these cars to get him back into the mix there. So now you see Dwight's right there with the that 3 of Michael Spell. So again, great job by Dwight to kind of keep after it and just go full after it and try to get back in there, and he's done so. You see James Ledford, he's moved up around Jim Brooks. I think he needs to try to stay a little bit tighter into the draft to keep himself safe as well. Saying up front again, I think these guys are just kind of on cruise control here, with Eric Schaus leading the way, Todd Merkel in second. Then you got Chad Wilkes third, Josh Sichterman fourth, and Robbie Richards rounds out our top 5. So you got 45 to go here, so probably another, if they can, I say the ideal, of course, is to go about 20 more laps until they make the pit stops if they want to try to split it up a little bit. As you see, again, that 44 got a little high in 3, so that seems to be definitely his trouble spot in this track so far. So we'll see, though. I'd say I think 25 to 30 to go is going to probably be roughly the fuel window that we might see here tonight. But again, I think right now the only question, though, of course, is Eric Schaus. Though he's going to be the one burning the most fuel here, and he's also the only driver, I believe, that went with the pit strategy of not taking 4 tires there. So we'll have to see how these tires hold up as well for the number 72 here. Looks like Robbie's ready to go there. He's going to try to make things happen again on the top side. Just again, I don't think he has the momentum yet. And yeah, you're exactly right. Dwight did a really good job of catching back to that draft. Say, unfortunately, had a little bit of a hiccup again in turn 3 a few laps ago, so he's having to do it all over again here. However, I'm watching the interval, and it's about 0.8 of a second, so I think he's going to be able to do it again. That last time by, again, he was the quickest car on track. So if he can keep that car clean, I think he's going to be in really good shape here. He's just got to try to, again, I talked about turn 3 is really the trouble spot. It's so easy to either get loose on entry or you kind of wash up. Oh, big move there. It says we were watching here, Todd Merkel. He jumps to the top. I think he saw Josh Sichterman go up there. It says like, all right, let's do it. I want to go too. So he makes a big move to the top side. It hasn't worked yet. As you can see now, Chad Wilkes has kind of got to the bottom of that number 81. So now we're going to have a fight for that second place between Todd Merkel in the 81, Chad Wilkes to his inside in that 17. So you can see Josh Sichterman trying to decide, does he want to go high, does he want to go low? And you actually see Eric Schaus there. He jumps to the top as well. So I think we're starting to see maybe these tires are starting to move a little bit, or we're just going to see the maybe these guys decide, all right, we rode enough, we're ready to start trying to fight here for some track position. Yeah, it's definitely easier to keep track of everybody, Rachel, with the smaller field. So it kind of has that IROC race feel, if you will, to it, where you kind of have the smaller groups of drivers. But I say it definitely doesn't. They usually don't let up on any of the aggression or anything like that. If anything, they can go a little bit more because they have more room to work with. So yeah, I'll say so. I'm kind of in the same boat. It's one of those things that you're mixed with, because you want to obviously have good car counts, but you also want to have good racing. So I'm sure they're trying to find that happy medium between all the series here. Oh, we see the wiggle there from Josh there entering turn number 3. Got a little bit of the apron. I think you see the wiggle happen. Able to hang on to the. So you see that 81 Todd Merkel. He tried to make that topside work and it did not pan out. Unfortunately, so he fell back a few spots there. But I think we're going to see at some point we're going to definitely see these drivers try something here to kind of move their way slightly forward if they can. But right now, I'm if they see what I'm seeing there. Just with Eric Schaus with those 2 tires, I mean, I think that's something that they're going to have to think about because, again, that's going to make their pit stop so much. Oh, as I think I just saw a little bit of contact between the 199 and the 12 there as they went down the backstretch. Looks like they were able to get through okay. I think just kind of that we talked about the wobble that these cars have. So even on the straightaways, they're a handful. So I think that's what we saw there between that 199 and the 12 car. So you can see that's moved Josh a little bit back as it's opened the door for Todd Merkel to try to grab that spot back from him. This is right now a fight for the 4th position. Yeah, you can actually see I was watching that 189. He's got a little bit of a crinkle on that right front fender or left front fender. I apologize. That not a lot, but just a little bit. Oh, as he gets right. Oh, you can see actually, I think he got Todd loose there. I don't know if they made contact or not. Maybe just took the air off his spoiler. But really good hands by that 81 car to hang on to it there. And you can see with that kind of pushed him just a little bit back off this lead pack here. So it won't take more than a lap to get him right back up into the mix. But so again, I think they're starting to feel. Let's say they've gone about 18 laps since their last pit stop. So I think those tires starting to wear a little bit. The fuel's starting to get low. Saying that's just going to make that back end just sit up in the air a little bit more and just make that car that much more uncomfortable to drive for these racers tonight. See James Ledford still hanging on to that back of the pack here, doing what he can to stay in touch. I think he'll definitely use a fast repair on this next pit stop as we just crossed the halfway point. So we have 37 left to go. Again, we're going to keep an eye on that pit window as well. So we'll have to see how far they can go. Right now they've gone just under 20 laps. So if they can go, trying to see, I would say if they can go in the upper 20s, I feel like they should be pretty safe to make it to the end. Let's say the question, of course, is that you gotta see a lot of these guys have been drafting, so you kind of wonder if Eric is still in a good position on his fuel numbers. I say usually he's pretty spot on with his fuel calculations, so I'm thinking if he wasn't in a good spot, he wouldn't be controlling this race like he is right now. So we'll kind of have to keep an eye on that as well here. You see the top 5 snuck away just a little bit from James Ledford. I don't know if that damage is starting to affect him in that number 48 machine. I say he's just about, I mean, it's not far. It's about 0.3 of a second or so behind. But you can see these top 5 are all pretty much nose to tail right here. But James, unfortunately, is losing a little bit of time. And I think that's what you see there. Just Jim Brooks there in that 76 is trying to see if he can find a way to make a move on that 48 car. Because his car is still clean, doesn't want to lose too much track position. Because again, you want to be as close as you can when you make these pit stops, because every 1/10 of a second is going to be critical here with these cars, especially that entry and exit. Go ahead and hop on board with this 199 car as he comes through the back stretch. Says he's got a great view of that Merkel Racing engine sponsor on the back of Todd Merkel's Ford Thunderbird here. Again, coming across the line, we're going to have 34 to go. This will be about 21, 22 laps since they've last pitted as well. So again, if they can go a little further, they want to try to split this. I feel like they're going to have to try to split it in half to make it to the end, at least to do it safely. Of course, you have to kind of apply or kind of account for the green, white, checkered potential finish as well. But right now, though, Josh here hanging on in that 5th spot. And saying that gap is still about the same between himself and James Ledford there for that 6th position. Again, you see Jim Brooks there jumping to the top. But looks like, I don't know if James is maybe just trying to stay just far enough away in case of, or if that car's trying to give up just that little bit from the damage. Yeah, I think these guys are just kind of biding their time, waiting for it to really be the time to go. And the other thing, I mean, some of these drivers that are in a little further back here, like Todd Merkel there in the 81, 1 Josh Schichterman, 12 Robbie Richards, I'm wondering they might just be trying to save a little bit of fuel here. That way they can take a little bit less fuel at the pit stop, and that could be enough to try to get them up into the lead after this pit stop cycle. And again, still too early to say on that one. So we still have a few more laps, I feel like, until they can actually get into their pit window. And you can see there's Todd gets a bit loose there on the entry. Again, I'm not sure if he's just maybe losing the air off the back of his spoiler. Let's say it's going to open the door for Josh Schichterman, but say as they battle, that's going to bring James Ledford right back into this. They're also have to be careful not to lose too much time to those leaders right in front of them, not let those top 3 sneak away here. Alright, next time around we were going to have 30 to go next time at the line. 31 to go here. I'm saying I heard some rumblings of them being able to make it about in the 30s or so on fuel. So we'll see. I say this might be another, again, one of the strategy calls of when you want to make that last pit stop. Do you want to stretch it out as far as you can and then pit and try to get the most out of the tires, or what the plan would be here. So as you can see, though, they are all stacked up right together here. This top 5 all bunched up. Again, starting to lose that 48 of James Ledford a little bit. You can see actually those 6th, 7th, and 8th, they're all kind of staggering just a little bit off of each other, probably more than they'd like to be here. So they're going to have to try to hustle a little bit, I think, to try to get closer once pit stops start coming through here. So I'm watching lap times. So everybody's in pretty similar speeds here. Say it looks like everybody's running about 43.6s in the top 6. So it looks like actually Jim Brooks is a little off there, 43.8. So he's actually about 0.2 off. Actually, here comes Eric Schaus. He's gonna be the first one in. I see the 48 James Ledford in. He's in here as well. So these are going to be the first of our leaders to make their pit stops. And again, the trick for these guys is going to be make sure they get down to speed, because these cars are extremely easy to overshoot the pit stall. It looks like Dwight Plush is in as well. So we'll see here what the pit strategy is going to be for these top 2 here. I think we'll see. Yep, there's a fast repair on Ledford. I expected that. So now I want to see if we're going to be doing 2 or 4. It looks like 4 tires for Eric, 4 tires for James, and it looks like 4 tires for Dwight as well, as the leaders are going to stay out. And while that was all going on, actually it looks like the 12 of Robbie Richards is able to jump in front and grab the lead here. But now Todd Merkel, he's going to make a charge there and try to get underneath him and try to grab the top spot here as they come through turns 1 and 2. Looks like he will do so. So move Todd up into that. Move Todd into the lead. Josh Schichterman now into second. I have a feeling, I know Chad's a sneaky one. I think he might be going full fuel save right now, and he's going to take as little fuel as possible, and I think we'll see 2 tires out of that number 17 car. So I think he's going to stay out as long as he can. Nope. As I said, he's in. Looks like the remainder of the lead pack is in, so now they have to be extremely careful again on this pit entry. Looks like they all do a really good job of getting in. That's hopefully nobody's sped on the entry. That is the rest of the lead pack here in the pits there. Everybody's in. as Eric Schaus is going to go around. That's going to give him his lap back. You see that the 48 James Ledford was able to get back to him to stay in contention here. So now we're going to watch our pit stops. I'm going to watch the 17 car with some interest here. I feel like, knowing Chad, he usually likes to make some strategy calls like that. But actually, nope. This time it's Josh Sichterman. Josh is going to go over that 2-tire strategy. I thought somebody was going to do it. Jim Brooks does as well. And I believe, yep, just those two. So those are going to be the two drivers that try the 2-tire strategy here. So now they got to make sure they get through the pit entry and exit clean. And I'm saying, if they can, I think they would really benefit if they could actually work together here, which Jim might be able to get to the back of that 199 and start drafting with them here as they get out of turn number 2. So we'll watch the gaps between the two of them here. But yeah, so I think when everything cycles through, our leader is going to be that 199 of Josh Sichterman. And it looks like gap is going to be about 1.2 seconds. I think Jim could probably close that gap up. Let's say in third right now is the 81 of Todd Merkel. You see there, about 7 seconds off lead. He's going to have Chad Wilkes right behind him, as well as Robbie Richards. And here come those two that pitted the lap before, Eric Schaus and the 48 of James Ledford. Unfortunately, it looks like pit stops did not go very well for Dwight Plesh and Michael Spell. Michael's actually about half a lap behind here of the leaders. So I'm gonna be watching these lap times now with very close interest to see. I think Jim's gonna be able to close the gap on Josh and saying, I think if they work together well, it is possible they can hold on to this gap, because right now, again, still holding at about that 7 seconds. It's going to definitely close because they have that draft working together, and they have 26 laps to go. So, I mean, there's a lot of time to do this. But they definitely are going to have to kind of work together and not worry about fighting each other at this point in the race. But what I'm going to be watching is these lap times, because, again, Josh is going to definitely be slower right now because he doesn't have the draft in front of him. Jim was about 4/10 quicker than the 189, but I'm looking at the lead pack, and actually, yeah, Todd Merkel ran pretty much the same lap times as Jim Brooks there. So that's I'd say definitely an advantage to that 76 car and the 199, because again, as Jim gets slightly closer, that's going to allow Josh to go a little quicker as well. And so you can see they're all working together here. You've got Todd Merkel leading the way, Chad Wilkes there, Robbie Richards, and you can see Eric Schaus, James Ledford. They've been able to get up into this mix as well. So you've got the 5 of them working together. These drafts just don't work the same as they would with the other cars. So, and I'm saying we'll jump back to our leader because, again, slowly but surely at 76 car, Jim Brooks, he's starting to close that gap. The last time by, again, about 0.2 of a second quicker. However, this time the second group was about 0.2 of a second quicker than Jim Brooks. So, well, yeah, this is gonna be really interesting to see how it plays out, because again, you can see now they're about just over 6 seconds behind. It was about 7 seconds not too long ago. I'll say what Jim's going to need to do in that 76 car, though, is he's going to have to stay in the back, in behind that 199 of Josh to stay in that draft. I think that's going to make them work that much faster together. Because I think when he goes up top here, actually not drafting him, I think that's going to bring this lead pack back up to them. So I was saying, it looks like he's going to keep doing that. I'm a little surprised here. Like I said, drafting is going to be the way to do it. As the leaders now or the third place car is now within 6 seconds of him. So if I'm that 199 of Josh Sichterman, I'm probably saying, hey, come draft me. Let's not battle right here. If we want to try to win this race, so we can settle it between the two of us with a little later to go. But right now it looks like that 76 car is going to try to see if he can get the lead here off of turn number 2, entering turn number 3. But these two are going to battle side by side, which is just going to bring that gap so much closer. As you can see, they've almost knocked about a second off that last time around. So yeah, right now these two up front fighting like the way they are is really going to help the third place battle on back. Yeah, sure enough, that last time around, Josh ran a 45.493. Todd Merkel ran a 44.483, so about a full second quicker. Saying with these two running side by side like this, it's not going to help them. I feel like if they work together, they could actually try to get away. So I'm just not sure. Maybe the 76 isn't like running the bottom like the 199 is. I'm not sure, but yeah, if I'm that 76 car, I'm running right on the bottom. unless maybe he's trying to be the one to lead this group and have the 199 push him. I'm not sure, but I'll say we still have plenty of time to go, though. We have 21 at the line. Gap is about 4.5 seconds. Again, I think that's definitely plenty of time for the leaders to get to this pack here. So we'll have to see what these top two do as this run progresses. I see the second group here all still running together. So you can see 72 Eric Schaus, 48 of James Ledford. They were able to get their pit stops together and well. So I have to actually say, I mean, these guys all did a really good job making their pit stops on the same lap and being able to get through, again, with, as we mentioned, with these cars as bad as they drive and as poorly as they brake, to be able to all make these pit stops. To say unfortunately they didn't work for Dwight and for Michael, but to have only two of these drivers having to make these green flag pit stops with no mistake, I mean, that's pretty hard to do. Yeah, you can see the gap visibly. You can see it closing. Obviously, you have the ticker on the left as well, showing the intervals now just over 3 seconds. Again, though, we'll see how the race results end up. But yeah, I mean, if I'm that 76 car, I'd be locked to the bumper or as close as I could to that 199. Obviously, with some safety involved. I'm almost wondering too, if I'm Josh, do I maybe just, you see the 76 always going to the top there, maybe you run to the top and see if he drafts with you instead of hugging the bottom line like you've been doing. Just try doing something different, because unfortunately, like I said, the way they're racing like this, it's just this lead pack's going to catch him, and probably about 5 more laps is going to be my rough estimation. So I think just under 15 to go, we're going to see what are we going to have? A 7 car here battle for the lead, most likely. Say slowly but surely, they're still closing that gap. It's about 2.3 seconds now, as you can see on the interval, so it's probably actually about 2 seconds off that 76 of Jim Brooks. I'll say again, he's going to try to get to the outside. I mean, it looks like he wants to try to get the lead. He thinks that's going to be the way to win this race. Like I said, I'm up here in the booth though, so I don't know obviously what the strategy is, or maybe they know how the cars feel compared to what I'm doing. But yeah, I'll say I would be doing things differently here, so we'll have to wait and see. I'll say maybe we'll get some interesting interviews after the race, possibly with this. So they're also not too far behind Michael Spell. I'll say he's only a couple seconds ahead of them, so they're going to kind of catch the draft of that number 3 machine here as they come through 3 and 4. Next time around is going to be 16 to go. And so I think my my 5 lap strategy is going to be just about right, because you can see that gap's gone from about, I believe it was 7 seconds going into it, so now it's just about 1 second. And again, they're going to get this draft, and you're going to see these cars come with a huge head of steam. The question is where they're going to be able to take that head of steam here. I see leaders coming up on that 3 of Michael Spell. So it looks like Jim's going to do the same thing as even with Michael. He's going to stay right behind him there, and then try to cut to the inside, see if he can sneak underneath that 3 car off of 4. But again, Josh Schickman able to hold on to that top spot still. So unfortunately, it's going to put Michael a lap down. However, the only car a lap down, so should a yellow come out, he would definitely get back onto the lead lap as long as he's not involved. But here we go, 15 to go. Leaders definitely have the draft of these top 2. So that's going to be the next goal for them, of course, is to get around that 3 car and then be able to start battling for the lead. But I think you're going to see this 199, Josh Schickman, he's going to be hugging this yellow line, I think, all the way around, because you've seen the 76 he's had a few opportunities, but hasn't quite been able to seal the deal. He has a bit of a lead here, but I don't think he's going to be able to finish the pass here off of turn number 3 and 4. And you can see there he was so close. That's probably the closest he's been, but just that inside line just has the speed through the turns. And say now he's going to be committed to running the top here, because here comes Todd Merkel and Chad Wilkes there on the inside line, and saying I think that's going to be the draft that 199 needs here to try to hang on to this lead for the time being at least. Alright, we've got a 7-car battle for the lead now. You see there, Jim Brooks is going to unfortunately fall back to the end of this pack here. So he just pinned on that top side, just nothing he can do. So now it's going to be all about that track position, trying to put your car in the right place at the right time. Again, right now, Josh Sichterman in that 199 leading the way. He's going to try to have to hold off Todd Merkel there right behind him, Chad Wilkes, Eric Schaus. So there's going to be a lot of cars here that are going to be vying for this win, but the other question is how hard are that second pack, or how hard are they having to work to try to get to them in order to have a chance to even have a chance at the win here. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. So right now though, Josh Sichterman still holding that slight lead over Todd Merkel, Chad Wilkes behind him in 3rd. And you got Eric Schaus there in 4th. Looks like James Ledford's moved up into that 5th position, and then Jim Brooks able to sneak around Robbie Richards for that 6th position. We have 12 to go at the line. So I wonder if these drivers are just trying to let things maybe cool their tires off. I say again, they were working hard, I feel like, to kind of get back up to even have a chance here. So say it's one of those I was at the Darrell Waltrip favorite word, co-opetition, where you have to kind of work with your rivals, if you will, to do the best you can for yourself. So you see there now Jim Brooks looking to the outside again. It looks like the inside line is pretty dominant here. You can get an attempt, you can get to the door, it seems like, of that car to the outside. But so I wonder if it's finding the right move at the right time to be able to make that momentum happen here. I think what we saw a little earlier with the 48 and the 72, where the 72 tried to pinch the 48 down a little bit, and unfortunately he washed up a little bit and they kind of make contact between each other. They're off of 2. I think that's going to be the best bet for that outside line, is you're going to have to try to keep that inside car pinned as low as possible to hurt the momentum on the exit, because they say if they can wash up the track and keep that momentum as much as possible, that's just going to make it that much more difficult for them to make this pass here. And then, of course, it's going to be having some help. So I think we'll probably see if and when, which I think is going to be a win, when Todd Merkel is going to make his move, which we have 10 to go here at the line. When Todd Merkel makes his move, he's going to need some help. And I wouldn't be at all surprised to see that 72 of Eric Schaus work with him there. But as I say that, the Robbie Richards in the 12, he's now trying to make a move towards the front there. But able to actually get around James Ledford, it looks like. So he's going to grab one spot there. So maybe tries to play that leapfrog game where you grab a draft, jump out when you get the momentum, and see if you can clear that car in front of you before the gap closes back up. And I see Jim Brooks, he's going to do the same there, able to get around for the moment the 48 of James Ledford. So, but now we'll see again. If he doesn't drop down before the gap closes back up, he's going to probably fall right back again. And there's my lack of surprise. Here goes Eric Schaus to the top, 2 to go. You can see he just about cleared the 17 of Chad Wilkes, wanted to get to the bottom, but actually had the momentum to get to the outside as well of Todd Merkel. So I think, again, we're going to see the business start picking up here. And now the question is going to be, if you're that 199 of Josh Sichterman, what lines do you block? Do you stay on the bottom? Do you try to work the draft here? But right now, let's say we have a good battle here up front, as business is going to start picking up here in these final laps. Oh, you can see there, Robbie got a little loose off for open the door for Jim Brooks. He's going to try to get to the outside of Robbie. Also try to get the 17 of Chad Wilkes as well there. Can't quite get it done yet. However, though, you see that 72 of Eric Schaus, he's actually got to the top now of the leader there, Josh Sichterman. Again, Josh took 2 tires, whereas Eric's got the 4. Saying Eric, obviously, he's going to remember what happened earlier when he tried pinching the leader down a little earlier where they made that contact. So he's going to be a little careful to make sure that doesn't happen to him again. Let's say he obviously still does have 1 faster pair remaining, but obviously he doesn't want to use it. He's going to want to race this thing out to the end. I'm a little surprised I haven't seen that 81 though of Todd Merkel. I kind of thought I'd see him jump to the top as soon as the 72 went up there, but right now hasn't done so. But however, though, he's able to grab that second spot, gets to the bottom, and so now you see Jim Brooks working the top side in that number 76 car. We saw him working on it earlier. Was able to get to the door of that 199, just couldn't get any further. So as they come through 1 and 2 here, he's outside of that 81. We'll see how the exit speed comes off between the two of them. But again, that draft is all on the bottom, and so I think that's going to be an advantage to this inside line. Oh, you see a 72 all over the back bumper there of Josh Sichterman there entering turn 3. Looked like Josh got a little bit loose, able to keep it straight though. So I'd say I think if you're that 189 at this point, you got to protect that bottom for all you're worth. So we have 6 to go at the line. Again, Jim Brooks not giving up on the top side. He's got a little bit of help now from Robbie Richards. Robbie's going to work the top. You see Jim's able to get to the outside of that 72 now of Eric Schaus. And he's got a little bit of help now. He's got a little bit of draft from behind from the 12 of Robbie Richards. So we'll see if that's able to push him a little bit further forward down the backstretch here compared to that last time around. And sure enough, that it's working. I say he's now got to the door of that 199 of Josh Sichterman. Next time around, we have 5 to go. It's gonna be a hard-fought battle here. As you can see, Josh watches up. Oh, just a little bit. Oh, Jim Brooks gets into the 72 of Eric Schaus. Heavy contact. Oh my goodness, heavy contact for the two of them. And somehow yellow does not fly just because of where the cars are on track. You can see the 76 here trying to get pointed back in the right direction. We'll see if that might throw the yellow with the 44 coming by. Oh, it doesn't. That's just awful luck there for Eric Schaus there. Nothing he did wrong, just wrong place at the wrong time. So we'll see though. I say you never know how this could end. So I'd say Eric's going to need to try to. He's in the pits. He's going to try to get that faster pair done. Get back out on track as quick as possible to try to stay on the lead lap. But we'll have to wait and see. But say right now though, that's going to move Robbie Richards up into second, Todd Merkel third. As we're going to have 4 to go at the line. Eric's leaving the pits now. Unfortunately, it's going to put him down a lap. So he's going to have to see if he can get around that 88 of Michael Spell. As you can see, exiting the pits there. But the problem is I think he's just not going to have the momentum built up before this all happens. Alright, we got 3.5 to go, if you will. So right now we still have 5 cars in contention here. I'm saying that's of course if it stays green. If we get another caution, you never know what's going to happen here. Right now, and you see the 88 of Michael Spell. He's kind of hanging out behind these guys. Doesn't want to play a role in this race. Just wants to kind of stay out of trouble and be in position to get that lap back should something happen here. But right now, though, Josh is holding pretty steady in the front. So you can see the 12, Robbie Richards, hasn't been able to really close the gap on him yet. That or maybe he's just trying to see if he can find a way to build that momentum up and get that big run and then make a chance to try to make that dive after the spot. But you can see with that gap, though, it's actually allowing Josh here. He's going to move a little bit high there on the entry, kind of use the full arc of the turn and not just hug the bottom there. Oh, he's on 12 there. Robbie just touched the apron there, got the car a little wiggly, able to hang on to though. Actually, I see James Ledford here in the pits, so now I'm even more perplexed. Can any of these guys make it on fuel, or do we have a fuel strategy race coming on here? We talked about how the 17 of Chad Wilkes had been saving this whole time. Can any of these guys make it the rest of the way on fuel? Or did maybe the 48 maybe do a bad calculation on fuel in that number 48 car? So that's going to be another interesting thing to watch here as we have 2 to go at the line, or 2 to go now, I should say. Next round is going to be the white flag, I should say. I'm sorry. See Chad Wilkes, he decided, all right, it's time. I got to do something. So he's gotten to the top. He's going to try to make the top work around Robbie Richards. He's going to have his hands full with that. Oh, here comes the 199. Josh Sichterman. Josh is in as well. So we were going to come to the white flag. His leader had to pit there. So you see Robbie Richards loose. He's going to go around. You can see him go through the infield there. So now it's going to be between these top three here. Or actually the top two, I should say. It's going to be Chad Wilkes here and Todd Merkel. This is going to be the battle for the win. Robbie Richards looks like he's able to get the car pointed in the right direction again. So this is the battle for the win between the 81 and the 17 as they come down the backstretch. So the 81 is going to be hoping for some help, maybe get a little bit of draft help from that number 3 of Michael Spell. But I think Michael's going to want to try to be involved in this one. So Chad's going to have to hold on to the top side. It looks like he's going to be able to protect enough. I don't think Todd's going to get the momentum he needs at the line. Sure enough, yeah, wow. Give Chad Wilkes the win here at Daytona. Todd Merkel grabs the second spot, and then we'll see who's able to grab the third position here. Say we still have some drivers cycling around. I think at the moment it's Robbie Richards in that number 12 car, I believe. As you see, he's coming around here. So he's got the damage from that spin where he got into the apron on the tri-oval. Say Robbie's going to still be able to bring it home in third place. And then I'm trying to see from the remainder of those that made pit stops. I think James Ledford's going to sneak around the 48. Or sorry, the 48 is going to sneak around the 199. That'll give James Ledford the 4th spot. Josh Sichterman in the 5th position. That was a crazy couple of final laps there. I thought everybody was good on fuel. I was very, very wrong. And we're going to have to ask some of these drivers about that. Because, I mean, you had your third place finisher, Robbie Richards, which actually, let's go see what happened to Robbie there at the end. And, I mean, we saw he got loose there, but that was a wild ending for him as well. Alright, so we're watching that 12. You can see he's loose on the tri-oval, trying to hold off the 17 Chad Wilkes, and unfortunately touches the white line there, or sorry, the yellow line. He gets on the apron, and then from there it's just all he can do to try to hang on to that car. And also, I'm sure he decided to let it spin to the infield instead of catching the 17 of Chad Wilkes there, because I'd say if he tried to catch it probably would have right hooked and then caught the 17 car. So you can see he's doing all he can. You can see he's trying to work the brakes, trying to work everything to get it to go. But and it looks like when it hits the bumps of the Daytona infield, that's what actually spins the car around. And you can already see this is going to be a heavy impact to the inside wall here. And a big shot for that 12 car. However, you can see that Robbie right away grabs a gear and gets things going, gets the car back on track. Because again, a lot of these cars involved in an incident or had some damage to, or not damage, or out of fuel, things like that. So, man, that was wild. And of course, while all that was said and done, 17 Chad Wilkes had to do everything he could to hold off that 81 of Todd Merkel, and able to do so. And again, we talked about that 17. It seems like pretty much all these races he enters, if he can enter them, he's won, I believe, all but one so far. So he's going to probably make another good charge here in the points as well. All right, so let me start getting some drivers here so we can have some interviews, because that was pretty crazy. Alright, so we're going to start things off with that number 12 car, third place finisher here, Robbie Richards. Say Robbie started in the 6th position, brought it home in 3rd. Say, and unfortunately, say for Robbie, I'll say you're in a pretty good spot there at the end. Just to say, I think just having that really shallow entry in the tri-oval, I'll say again with these cars, that tri-oval is probably the hardest part on the track for you guys. Let's say, was it just the entry just wasn't what you needed there at the end to try to hold off that 17 and the 81?
Yeah, man, dude. Look, I wanted to be where Chad was. I wanted the high line. I knew the tires were all pretty worn out. As soon as I seen Josh get loose there, I knew it's probably going to happen to me in the tri-oval. Uh, so I did get into it wrong, but I don't really think that had too much to do with it other than the fact that the tires were just pretty worn out. Going into turns, just kind of sliding through there a little bit to get turned. I think if I was where Chad was, I probably would have been all right. I probably could have done a little bit better, but it's all a matter of them tires, saving them tires like Chad done, and he done an excellent job of that.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely showed these things were a handful. You could kind of like visually see the progression as the run went on. These things became more and more of a handful for you all to drive. I'm saying I honestly didn't realize you all were that close on fuel either. When I started seeing, I think it was James pitted, then Josh pitted there coming to the white. I was like, oh man, I did not see that coming. that one actually, I was surprised by that one. Were you tight on fuel, or were you able to save pretty good there in that draft that last run?
Oh, coming out of the pit out of the last stop, I just stayed behind Chad and him because that whole for probably about 5 laps, I was probably a tenth or so shy of being able to make it. So I just stayed there, and as soon as I was able to actually know that I could make it, that's when I actually started racing. I did end up running out going across the line. Soon I wouldn't have been able to do anything after that. So uh, I I had no I had none left at all.
Wow, that's wild. So yeah, so I mean, you guys are all tight on fuel. Even like I said, even with you just following that 17 car. And saying how hard? I said the other question I have is how hard were you guys having to work there to try to catch the 76 and the 199 when they were able to sneak away with that two tire strategy? Were you guys kind of like, hey, we got to work together to catch him, or was it just kind of you were? I mean, you guys are kind of it seemed like you're biding your time in general during the race, but it seemed like you worked really well together. As the group there to try to catch those top two on that last run as well.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. It's kind of funny because I asked James. He's pretty good with these cars, and I guess you say we're pretty much like teammates. We always work together. I asked him at the beginning of the race, "Is it a good idea to take four or two?" So we stuck with four tires. As soon as I seen them get out ahead of us, I actually thought maybe they probably would have had enough ahead of us to probably at least stay there till the end ahead of us. But once we all three got in the line, just kind of stayed with each other, we started catching them pretty quickly. And the problem is it was getting around them was more than anything. I think with them having two tires, it was a little bit harder for them to actually hold the line at the bottom. That's what kind of helped us out there at the end to catch them.
Yeah, no, as say once you guys got settled in there and everything, yeah, you were knocking off almost a second a lap. It was pretty impressive. But yes, I mean, a great run. I'll say, obviously, like I said, not the way you wanted to finish it, but really good job, though. I mean, get things righted in the right direction, grab a gear, and get going again. Still able to hang on to that third place run. So, overall, a pretty good result for you tonight. So, definitely any opportunity for any thanks shots you'd like to give for that third place run tonight.
I'm going to give a huge shout out to James. He's got these things figured out. I mean, his results show it. Maybe not tonight, but he's got them figured out, and he's taught me some things on these things. I'm not good with these cars at all, so I'm gonna give a pretty big shout out to him and Michael. Michael's helped out a lot too. Um, they've been very helpful, and especially having to hold a line with these things because when it comes to these setups, I'm not too sure on how to do that. So give a huge thanks to them too.
I'll say great run tonight. Say congrats. I'll say it's definitely not an easy one tonight. You could tell by everybody the way they're kind of wrangling these cars. I'll say it was a lot of fun to watch. So yeah, say congrats again on that third place, and look forward to chatting with you here soon.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, I'll take third. I don't know how I ended up in third, but I'll take it.
I say as long as it's a good result, that's all we want, right?
Yes, sir. We'll try to rebound on it. Keep it going.
All right, that's our third place finisher there. Robbie Richards grabbing that third place. Like I said, unfortunately spun there, coming to the white flag on that entry into the trial. And he said too, he wanted to be on the top side where that 17 and Chad Wilkes wasn't unfortunately able to get in that position. However, we got to pull up our second place finisher, which is say got some info. It sounds like this might be the first podium result for this number 81 of Todd Merkel. It's a long time coming. He's been definitely one that's been running up front and having some really good runs. Was in contention for the win here as well. Just couldn't find a way to get around that number 17 of Chad Wilkes. Let's pull up that number 81 of Todd Merkel. Able to get that second place finish there. Say kind of wild those last couple laps, where it was kind of looked like it was going to be about a 5-7 car battle for the lead, and then unfortunately the contact between the 76 and then the 72, and then drivers pitting there at the 2 to go, 1 to go, and then the leader actually kind of spinning there coming to the white. So yeah, I mean, take us through on your end. I mean, how crazy was it from your perspective behind the wheel?
Oh, well, I'll tell you what, for the last, 15 or 18 laps, it was all about gas mileage there. And congratulations to Chad Wilkes. As always, he did a great job. And he did a fantastic job of saving enough fuel throughout that entire run that he had enough to be able to go fast for a few laps right at the end there. I didn't have that because I led that pack for so long. I wound up using a lot more fuel there. And I barely had enough to make it across the line. I was just I was coughing and choking as I crossed the finish line there in that race.
Yes, yeah. I had no idea. I knew the fuel window was roughly. I heard maybe in the 30s or so, maybe low 30s, something like that. So when I started seeing those cars duck off, I was like, "Oh, this is going to get interesting here." And that's the first thing I thought. I was like, "All right, who's been saving? Who's been having to lead?" And you're right, though. You had to lead that pack when you were chasing down those top two after that last green flag pit stop. So, you're kind of the what do you want to call it? There's a word for that. I lost it, of course. But I say they kind of like, here, you take care of this, Todd. Well, we'll just follow you. You got it.
Yeah, well, I did everybody a favor there by towing them around the racetrack for 15 or 18 laps, catching those guys who only took 2 tires. And unfortunately, it didn't leave me enough to give Chad any kind of race at the end there. I was just hanging on for dear life, hoping I made it around before it stalled completely.
Well, I mean, you did everything you could there. It was a really good result for you. So you're able to finally get that result after you had some solid runs all season. Haven't been able to capitalize on them. So a great run for you tonight, Todd. I know Rachel is rooting for you at the end. I say it's always cool to again have a fan in your corner cheering you on there. And saying, I know you have plenty of sponsors that you gotta give some thanks and shout outs to. I say we try to catch them as much as we can as well. But I say you know them better than I can, so I say I'll let you give you the floor here and let you kind of give them your appreciation.
Well, I do really appreciate that, and it's really neat to be able to throw a shout out to my guys at Ross Pistons and Liberty's Gears and Driven Oil. They help me out on my real drag car a lot, so I think this is kind of a neat thing to be able to do for them and run their decals on my iRacing ride. But I also want to thank you guys. These broadcasts are outstanding. I watch almost every one, or at least bits of it, and I really, really appreciate what Area 51 does for us, giving us this organized place to race several times a week.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's really cool to kind of have that combination of what you'd be able to do with the pro stock in the real life, and then bring those sponsor and everything over onto the iRacing cars. Get them a little bit more attention, and also just to bring attention to everything you do as well. So I mean, that's a really cool thing. I know I'm sure we've talked about before with my dad doing his own little drag racing just as a hobby, but to be doing like competitive pro stock racing, that's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's a good time. This is it doesn't feel like it when I'm sitting here racing, but it's generally considerably less pressure than the real race car.
Well, I mean, the real race car, you only have to do it for about 6 seconds. So I mean, that's easy.
Yeah, something like that. But when you stuff one in the fence or in the sand trap, it's real money it costs you. You don't just push the escape button and get a new race car there.
Yeah, we'll figure out how to get some pro stock fast repairs in for you in the future.
That would be fantastic. Thanks, guys.
All right, well, congrats again on that second place run, Todd. It was awesome to see you up front there, battling there at the win. I'm sure we're going to see you up here again soon. So keep after it, and look forward to chatting here again with you soon.
I hope so. Take it easy, guys.
All All right, that's our second place finisher, Todd Merkel, in that number 81 Ford Thunderbird. I say again, if you want to try to hunt him down, I say he's got a pro stock that he does some drag racing in, so really cool thing to say different, all the things that people are a part of that you may not even realize, and say all the like kind of the connections and such that these drivers can have with each other. So really cool. So definitely keep an eye out for some of these drivers having some pretty fun hobbies, and say pretty impressive. Say now we got to pull up our race winner. So I'm going to do it again because it hasn't worked the last couple times, but I'm going to try it one more time. We're going to grab that crew chief as well because he doesn't like to talk, it seems like, but we're going to find a way one of these days to get Mitch to talk as well. So pull up our race winner, that number 17 of Chad Wilkes, and say, all right, so we got that crew chief. I dragged him over again. I'm going to try it one more time, but was he crunching the fuel numbers for you in this one?
Yeah, pretty much. We're kind of teaming it up a little bit because I was trying to see where I was like when I crossed the finish line and see how many liters it took and that kind of thing. But it was pretty straightforward as far as how much I was going to need. But I was definitely having him sort of call out to see what my estimated laps was compared to how many laps there actually was left and how much he was just kind of calling it out. And I was able to see how much I needed to back off a little bit on a lap, or if I could go a little bit more in a lap. So yeah, definitely good to have that communication.
Yeah, so I was going to ask, so that last run, I say you were pretty much locked on the back bumper of Todd Merkel there, coming to try to chase down, obviously, the two drivers, Josh Stickterman and Jim Brooks, that took the two tires there. Was that kind of your game plan? It's like, I'm just going to stay locked onto him, save fuel while catching those leaders? Or, I mean, I say, or is that just kind of that's how you guys cycled through on the pit stop exit?
No, yeah, it was 1,000% the plan. I hung out for 74 laps or 73 laps so I could race too. I mean, that's really, I think at one point somebody pitted or they crashed or something happened from right in front of me. And I immediately pulled up and let some more cars pass me. I didn't want to spend any laps in the lead of this race, except for maybe the white flag and the checker flag. That was it. I did not want to be in the lead. So, yeah, that last pit run, I knew that even if Todd didn't drag us along, like I was okay staying behind him because even if he wanted to save, we still would have caught those guys because you just can't do anything on two tires for a full run here. I mean, it's just that was never going to work from a speed standpoint. So I knew we'd catch him pretty much regardless of what Todd did. So I was happy if he pushed, and I would have been happy had he tried to save really hard too. Either way, I think we were going to catch those guys. So yeah, just I was where I wanted to be.
Yeah, and I think I caught that too at some point. I noticed, I was like, okay, with that happening, that put you in the lead, and I was like, wait a second, I think I just saw Chad fall to the end of the draft. I was like, I think something's going on here. I think I remember, I may have mentioned too during the broadcast. I honestly can't remember, but I say, and if I did, it's like, yeah, there's some strategy afoot on that 17 car. So. Yeah, I mean, again, honestly wasn't sure what the field numbers were going to be. I thought everybody was going to be good once they made those pit stops. But then, when I started seeing some drivers duck off there, like 2 to go and then the 1 to go, I was like, oh, this is going to get interesting here.
Yeah, it was right at, from what I could tell, it was pretty much right at 25, 26. And then you could save to try to get above that number. I saved plenty at the end. I had enough to get around and come do some burnouts. I had probably a lap and a half of full tilt running left in the tank because I wanted to make sure I had extra because I knew when I pulled out, it was obviously going to start burning more. But from what I could figure, it was burning 2.1 liters a lap. And so, which if you take that all out, that's around 25, 26 laps. And even some of that was a little bit in the draft because I tested it out. So, yeah, I mean, that's just trying to make sure that we stayed about a lap ahead of that number so that when it was time to go, when it was 2 laps to go, I knew I had plenty to not even have to worry about it. I could just nail it and make sure I had enough tires and gas to make sure that I could race those guys if I needed to race them. I didn't know if they were going to be able to make it or not. So, yeah, it worked out.
That's what you got to do. So you got to have the speed, you got to have the strategy. So obviously you have to usually have a little bit of luck in play as well. But so you did a great job of managing all of them. All right, so we're gonna put your crew chief on spot, see if he's working this time or not. So you got us this time, Mitch.
I hope so.
I gotcha. I'm gonna put you on the spot one of these times. So yeah. So I was saying now I got to get the crew chief's perspective. So were you the field cruncher guy, or what else did you have to do for Chad there to help him get the win tonight?
Well, I just kind of help them watch for if anything's going on ahead. Like if there's going to be anybody's getting squirrely or getting tight, or drifting up the track or anything, especially the side by side, where you can maybe back out a little bit or kind of watch ahead. And with the fuel, we didn't know if really thought we were going to be about 2 laps short originally, but then me and him were just talking, about football, and he all of a sudden he said, "Hey, I'm gonna make it." And we got looking at it, and sure enough, yeah.
Well, there you go. Okay, so you're doing some spotting, some fuel numbers, and then you also have to keep him distracted a little bit. Maybe say keep the mind focused on other things. So say when things maybe get a little bit calm, huh?
Yeah. He's a football coach, so we talk about that a lot, especially during the racing and all. Yeah.
That's cool. I say obviously some bias on my end. I love being able to kind of seeing the family part of that stuff. I say with obviously the father son side of this one. I was saying my dad and I, obviously my dad on the racing side, I'm able to help broadcast, and then every so often my brother jumps in and races here. So it's really cool to see you both be a part of this. So I know you get to race occasionally as well, Mitch. I think you do. Do you do just Sundays, or are you also running on the Thursday series?
I run the Sundays, but I mostly run super speedways, but I'm mostly an open set guy.
Okay. So yeah. So that's that's a whole different ball game they have to play with there. So that's definitely not my strong suit. So hats off to you for being able to play with setups on that one. I'll say I like these fix ups. It's just easier for me to just hop in and go. All right. Well, I'll say before I let you go, Chad, I say definitely got to give you an opportunity for any thanks and shouts you'd like to give for the win tonight.
Yep. Thanks for the broadcast. Thanks to Area 51. Thanks to the other drivers for it being one caution, I guess. Which is really cool. Let's really hope that we get something like that tomorrow night. I'm gonna cross my fingers. And yeah, thanks to Daddy for helping me out. It was fun.
Yeah, I say it's good you mentioned. Yeah, so tomorrow night's going to be Texas. I say it's going to definitely be one to keep an eye on for us. Say with that new configuration, it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve, I'm sure, for some of these drivers. But yeah, so again, congrats though. Enjoy it, and look forward to catching you here tomorrow.
Thank you.
All right, so that was our race winner and his crew chief, Chad, in the driver's seat, Mitch in the booth, or maybe not the booth, but it sounds like in the spotter stands, in the crew chief, and the war wagon, kind of little jack of all trades there for him. So again, congrats to our top three: Chad Wilkes, Todd Merkel, Robbie Richards, able to grab the win top three, I should say, this evening. Unfortunately, James Ledford, Josh Sickerman just did not quite have the fuel that they needed to try to stretch it to the end. And unfortunately as well, Eric Schau's contact with the 76 at Jim Brooks towards the end took both of them out of contention. But yeah, that was a really exciting race there. Went from just all-out brawl to the end to being fuel strategy to just everything there. So again, really want to thank you all for joining me this evening. Again, congrats to our top three. And yeah, so tomorrow night we got the Cup Series at Texas. So if you want to check that out, definitely come find us here. It'll be same time, same place. So until tomorrow evening, I hope you all have a wonderful night. Remember, if you can, please try to stay home, stay safe, wash your hands, and have